My name is Terry Salinas, and I'm the Economic Development Director for the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council. I want to welcome you again this morning. Some of you have stayed for this session, and a lot of you are new. So I'd like to briefly just ask everybody to say their name and where they're from, starting with the lady in blue.
Tammy Cowell, American Red Cross.
Red Cross.
Lydia Moreno, City of Lyford.
City of Lyford. City of Sullivan. Brenda. Gentleman in front.
Julian Alvarez with the Rio Grande Valley Partnership.
Right. Welcome, Julian. You're one of our sponsors. In case you notice, we are being filmed. We're filming the Regional Strategic Plan this year. And so we're a little bit nervous, but there's 3 sponsors, the partnership, and do you know the other 2? Okay.
No, I don't.
They're not up here. Anyways, we want to thank you again for sponsoring this event. And the other gentleman in blue?
My name is Jaime Sandoval, City of Alamo.
Welcome. Sit.
Lucy Ramirez, Nuestra Clínica del Valle.
Lucy, welcome. Yes, sir.
Teófilo Osuna, Dean for the College of Business Administration.
Awesome.
UG
Edinburgh office?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Keith Patridge with McAllen Economic Development and McAllen Fort Tracy.
McAllen, thank you for coming.
Raul Valero, I'm a planner too with the LRG Meeting City Farm.
911.
911.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Roy Martinez with the 911 department as well.
Welcome. And
One moment, Director of 911. And Joe Gonzalez, I'm Director for the Lower Grande Valley Area Assisting Aging, also the Lower Grande Valley Valley Council.
everybody knows Joe. Okay, and
I just finished the session.
very popular. And the gentleman standing back the door, responsible for all this.
Manuel Cruz, the Director of Homeland Security and Criminal Justice. Welcome.
Thank you. And
Marcia Oviedo with the Regional Planning and Services Department.
co-director of this event. Okay, well, let's get started. You know that we do this regional plan every 2 years to coincide with our legislative session. So the comments and all of the changes made to the goals and strategies and objectives are documented and then put into another plan. It will cover a 5-year period. So we're looking at 2013, 2018. And we are covering the 3 counties of Cameron, Hidalgo, and Willacy. We're not like the partnership that covers 4 counties. We only covered 3. And so these comments will affect our valley. We are starting off with the introduction that Joe already made, which is telling you a little bit about the history of the valley, the geographic area. I don't think you need to hear that. If you do, it's in your packets. And again, it's on our website. The most important thing to begin with is the actual trends, and these are current valley trends. You need to remember that we did this plan a couple years ago, so whatever's in there was made changes or incorporated upon the request of the people in the audience. And we did 1 meeting in Cameron, 1 meeting in Hidalgo, 1 meeting in Willacy counties, and then we went to a regional meeting back in October. And that's the opportunity, that's the process. You have the opportunity to make, again, any changes prior to the last meeting where we submitted to the Board of Directors, again, for the 3 counties, and that board is made up of your 3 county judges, all of your large and medium-sized cities, and 3 small cities, and then special districts, educational institutions, and grassroots organizations. So that's the board that approves this plan. Okay, under current valley trends, you'll see here that these are identifying again the valley. It's a diversified international market, recognition of tourism as a growth industry, increasing tax burdens, increase in technological capability and needs, small businesses remain as primary employers, increasing governmental regulations, rising comprehensive public health care needs for growing indigent population, diversification from an agricultural base, and region continues to experience brain drain as college graduates leave region for better jobs. second page, increasing demand for substance abuse services, consistently high dropout rate, increasing need for affordable transitional housing, increasing need for coordination and support of regional strategic planning, strengthening of international relationships, increasing demand for regional social communication infrastructure, rising crime rate, increase in domestic and transnational crimes, increased importance of lifelong continuing education to maintain labor force competitiveness and employability, increasing need for awareness of environmental concerns, increasing demand on water supply, urbanization, reduction of wildlife habitat and reduction of agricultural land, increasing population of residents and non-residents, increasing obesity and diabetes, increasing need for public transportation, increasing need for infrastructure, public transportation and maintenance, increasing need for funding, drainage, capital improvement projects. So this is the trends that was 2 years ago. So today you have the opportunity to make any changes or any comments from the audience. No? Everything's good? Yes, sir.
Yes, just one update. For those of you that might have comments, raise your hand. We're trying to capture everything. We're video recording as well as taking comments, recording the session, audio recording. If that way, if we miss anything today, we can go refer back to the recording and capture your changes. So if you would, if you have any comments, just raise your hand. We'll make our way to you, give you the mic, state your name, your organization, and then your question or comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I do think that one of the trends here is the regionalization of higher education.
Okay.
You know, as we begin to now look at the whole region in higher education, especially at the university level.
Right. Okay, we will make that note. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to speak to the increasing need for coordination support of regional strategic planning. I'd like to point out that I think we also need to bring that down into the emergency preparedness area and in exercises that we start working across areas, because if we truly have a disaster, it will impact the whole area as a whole.
That's true. Okay. So do you want me to just add and support a regional strategic planning and emergency management? Would that be okay, or do you want to word it differently?
Emergency management to include exercises.
Exercises. Okay. Any other changes? Okay, we're good to move on to the next section, which is to identify the assets for our region. Again, a strategic geographic location that offers economic opportunities, human resources. We have an abundant trainable workforce and a young workforce. Infrastructure. We have ports of entry, shipping ports, rail, airports, highway systems, public transportation. We have assisted living facilities, healthcare facilities, availability of land still available for development, natural resources, quality of life. I think I should say good quality of life. Recreation, tourism, intergovernmental cooperation, cultural diversity, climate, availability of educational and technical institutions, multi-commodity international agricultural industry, growing education infrastructure, improved educational attainment in the 25 years and younger category, and we do have community involvement. Anybody disagree, want to change or add anything to the list? Yes, sir.
Although we have, healthcare facilities,
Mm-hmm.
I think the addition of a medical school, the addition of just saying a medical school, that's a big asset for the Rio Grande Valley, and it's a beacon of development and prosperity for this region. So I think I'd like to kind of single that out, different from the other healthcare facilities.
Okay.
A medical school.
Medical school. A regional medical school.
Yes.
Okey-doke. Add that on there. Anybody else? Okay. Moving on to challenges. We have an unemployment rate. Yes, I think that should say high unemployment rate. Raw water quality and quantity, infrastructure maintenance and expansion, drainage, roads, highways, water, sewer treatment plants, access to comprehensive health care services for the economically disadvantaged, affordable standard transitional housing, poverty level, educational attainment in the 25-year and older category, crime prevention, and enhanced revenue streams supporting expansion of regional public transportation services. Any changes? Comments? Lucy?
You know, Terry, I think one of the things that we need to, that is a challenge in this area is the low voter turnout. As a result of our citizens not being actively involved in the voting, you know, I think the Rio Grande Valley, you know, gets left behind because other parts of the state, you know, as we know, the legislative session, a lot of it is you know, how loud is our voice?
Correct.
And so I think that that's a challenge.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Anybody have anything else or disagree with the comment? No? Yes, sir.
Terry, I think something we ought to look at is a lack of technical training, skills, lack of skills, not necessarily the training, but the technical skills
Okay.
in the workforce. And then the increased competition for workforce from outside the area.
That's very true. We're looking at the Fort Shell companies out there taking a lot of our workers. Okay, low voter turnout, lack of technical skills in workforce, and increased competition. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else?
C, water, sewer treatment plants. I'm not sure exactly what that's kind of vague, but would you consider like the availability of water?
Mm-hmm.
Somehow putting that.
Yeah. I think the reference was since we've grown so much that our infrastructure's not keeping up with the demand. So yes, definitely we need more water plants, more sewer plants.
That's certainly going to be a priority in the upcoming session.
Great. Anybody else? Lydia?
On that same note, not so much because we're having a drought. I mean, it's very hard for those of us that are at the end of the line, per se.
That's true.
And we're looking for other avenues or another source of water. I mean, that has been a problem for so many of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't have the resources. Maybe, I guess we're, yes.
Lack of drought resource or access to resources to handle drought? See?
Because at the present time, we're working with TCAQ, TDA, Water Development Board, you know, other agencies.
Right.
To see how they can help us.
Okay. Yeah, that is a big problem. Okay, great. Anybody else? Really good comments. Thank you. Okay. Ta-da, we're getting to economic development. Okay. Economic development goals and accomplishments. We're going to go into the goals, so I will read those out, but we'd like to read some of the accomplishments. And again, we do invite all of the agencies, organizations, EDCs to come to these meetings or to send us their success stories. Because if we have more success stories in the Valley, that shows that we are growing and that we are improving the services to our business, to our communities as far as economic development. We did provide technical assistance to cities, universities, economic development corporations, navigation districts, and ports of entry. It is kind of hard since we are spread out and there's only one person that is available to do that. Most of the EDCs have staff person, but they concentrate on the EDC, their cities, and their closer neighbors. So we need to also provide grant administration services to the cities, counties, universities, EDCs, and navigation districts. I know the smaller cities don't have adequate staff for grant writing or technical assistance, so we are here to help out with that. Also, we have a loan review committee. There was an agency, I don't think it's no longer available, but it was the Center for Economic Opportunities Small Business Incubator Program in Edinburgh. Unfortunately, the director has fallen out, so that is not really a very active organization anymore. But we did provide technical assistance, and we did provide loan review comments on their applications for businesses. We did create a Women's Business Owner Committee. It was called the Tri-County Women's Business Group. We continue to manage and provide technical support to the Low Rio Grande Valley Certified Development Company. This is a group that provided business loans to small businesses. We conducted business loan trainings, and then we applied for and was awarded an EDA grant for the Center for International Economic Development Opportunities, which is what I announced beforehand, and that's our picture right here, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Next are pictures of actual grants and activities that we conducted. Financial literacy is a big issue now. There's our Women's Business Group, our SBA Loan Committee. We also did emergency management, tying into disaster recovery. We got a 2-year grant from EDA to do that. Also, our biggest projects here in the valley are the EDA infrastructure projects, and EDA is real big on technology. We constructed the Santa Rosa Technology Center. That was 100% grant. Raymondville Rural Technology Center. And then we did the Hidalgo Border Security and Technology Training Facility. And we did help start the first phase and second phase of the Rio Grande Valley Premium Outlet Mall. So that's some of the projects that we've done through economic development EDA funding. Our first goal, foster and support small business and entrepreneurial initiatives for domestic and international markets. Objective was to identify all types of small business needs and opportunities. Are there any comments or changes or corrections? No?
I think entrepreneurship gets lost in the strategies. I think there's maybe one or two
Yes, sir.
strategies that are further, right? Because I think, when you look at fostering and supporting small business, that's basically under the area of business expansion. Whereas entrepreneurship is under business creation. And so, when you look at entrepreneurship, angel investor network is important. If you have, at the university or others that are starting up a business, having an angel investor network is really important to do that.
That's a great strategy.
And so I think, either moving entrepreneurship to another goal would be
By itself?
by itself, because if you look at the measurable outcomes, again, you only have one, right, which is training.
Right.
And so I do feel that there are some, the university does entrepreneurship, other EDCs will do entrepreneurship as well. Chambers will also do that. So that is business creation, which is a different focus.
Correct.
From the expansion part. If you would like, I could write that up and
I was going
send that to you.
to request that.
I do have other, we have high school entrepreneurship programs. They're ongoing. The McAllen Chamber has something that deals with entrepreneurship also for elementary school. Entrepreneurship incubators also important. So I could do that for you and send it to you.
Great, that'd be wonderful. We will definitely add that. And yes, the reason why in the past entrepreneurial initiatives was logged into all the other small stuff was because there wasn't that many services or emphasis on entrepreneurship as it is now. I started working with UT Brownsville also. They have an entrepreneurship program. And so, yes, that would be a good suggestion to add it as a new goal. Anybody else?
One more I do have one more comment on this one here.
Uh-huh,
I think if you look at this region for small businesses,
uh-huh,
the majority of it is services related. But we don't have any training or any support for improving the quality customer service, which is very important. If you go to a restaurant, you go to a store,
yes.
you call somebody, you know, the way the customers or the clients are treated is not, they're very good. You know, so I think some training and some support in that area for improving quality or having quality customer service
So,
would be very important
so we would list that as a strategy?
as a strategy.
Okay, improving customer service.
And then you have one on continue the Money-Wise financial literacy program.
Mhm.
I think there should be coordination there because I know there's other, Gear Up has, or Region 1 has financial literacy. We have financial literacy in our college as well. There's also financial literacy for small business. So I think not just continuing Money-Wise, but rather coordinating financial literacy programs would be very important.
Yes, and I know that a lot of the banks now are pushing for
Yes.
financial literacy, and including the state office, state banking office. So the Money-Wise is the one that I do in my department, and it was through a small stipend through Capital One. So that's why we mentioned it specifically, but I would like to know more about the Gear Up and the other notices that I get from the other financial literacy programs out there. So we will include that. Anybody else? No? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Increase domestic and international trade. And the objective is to encourage the continued expansion of domestic and international trade. We are considered the gateway to global commerce because of our strategic and logistic location. So that's a very important economic development tool that we have here. Any comments, changes? Nope. Any strategies that we need to add? Nope. Okay. You'll also notice on the bottom we listed potential resources. Again, from the audience that comes to the meetings or that provides us with comments, we try to list as many as we can down there. So if there's anybody missing, and this is not a plan that the Development Council implements, this is a regional plan. So we're all really supposed to be responsible for implementing the goals and strategies here. Next goal is to assist rural and urban communities to incorporate information technology as a tool for their economic development. The objective, to provide access to information technology to rural and urban communities. And I've got 3 of my Regional Small City Coalition members that can attest to the need for technology in the small rural areas. Any comments, changes, additions? At GIS?
Yeah, GIS is already in here, or?
I think we, I don't think we put it down as a specific strategy, but we can. Okay. What would you want us to say? Strategy would be to increase training or
Training and maybe funding for GIS program with the small cities.
increase training, GIS training, and funding opportunities. Very good.
Terry,
Yes, sir.
isn't that something that you know, economic development has been doing as far as training with the GIS with the small cities coalition?
Yes, sir. And it was through a grant, again, from EDA. And unfortunately, it's a grant that ended and there's no more money. So what Judy wants us to do is to continue researching for grants Once we list it in the plan, it's identified as a need, so especially because it's the rural and urban communities that need GIS technology. So,
And I think that's one of the very important things that the valley really needs to get somehow started, because most of our GIS people that graduate from college, don't come back. They go to college and they get GIS technology and they stay away.
right. And we do have a office built into this building just for GIS, because we're still hoping and praying that we'll get some funding. So we have a big space to put some plotters and some equipment just for GIS. And of course, working with our 911 department, so. Yes, sir.
Gary, is this about, it says provide access to information technology?
Mm-hmm.
Is this about more infrastructure in, like, internet and that type of thing, or what type of information technology?
Well, if you speak to the small cities, they're going to tell you they need everything. They got the GIS training, but they can't afford the license, or they can't afford the special equipment. We have to network. Roy, right there, is very familiar with the expense of setting up a 911 system. It's in the thousands, right, Roy? And just even a license, we had to pay $1,500 for a license, and then it's a maintenance fee of $750, and that's the low scale. Again, money that probably the small cities don't have. So what we did, we provided them with the basic GIS training, and then our 911 department continues to offer technical assistance so that they won't lose all of that knowledge that they have. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any way Roy can explain to everyone how GIS can help the small city? How they can, map and show sewage lines, everything?
Roy?
Okay, well, GIS, Geographic Information Systems, allows you to take information, or data rather, and turn that into information, something you can actually use. So for a small city, they might be able to use GIS to determine where commercial properties are located along popular roadways, if certain permits are going to be needed to issue to certain buildings, as economic development tries to entice businesses to come in. Some of that spatial data is going to become very, very important in their decision-making process. And so the more information that you have at your fingertips, the prettier picture you can paint for these businesses who are looking to open up new stores and locations. And so knowing how new businesses are going to affect local residents and maybe increase police patrols and things like that. I mean, GIS allows you, again, to take data which oftentimes is stored in binders and in filing cabinets, and we don't really get a chance to see how it affects us in the real world, and kind of lay it all out on the table and see how different variables are going to affect the planning that goes on in our cities.
Exactly, especially the land use. I know that's very important for the cities to know what their boundaries are and where the growth is going in their cities, and make plans for that. So GIS is very, very important. And so if you know of anybody that has any money, send them our way. Yes, sir.
The reason I was talking about the infrastructure was because I know that at the university we are doing more and more online teaching. I mean, I have my MBA program now is completely online.
Yes,
so
sir.
having, if a person, works in West Metro or, San Benito or even Head Couch, if they have access to that, they don't have to travel and do things. Because they have access to that online training. So supporting the expansion of broadband in those small cities would become important, or working with the school districts themselves if they have that infrastructure.
Yeah, and there's actually, the state of Texas is doing 2 projects to connect the cities, and we're part of that. We're actually one of the first entities, Connected Texas, and we're going to be connecting all of the Valley services. And then there's a program, Manuel, for just emergency management, to connect police departments and, what was it called? Patty, do you remember? No. So there's two programs where they're trying to connect the whole state, but one is just specifically for emergency management, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. And then the Connected Texas, which is to connect the communities, and that's the one we're doing through the Regional Small City Coalition. So yeah, there's a big effort, and broadband is a big need here in the valley. Anybody else? Next goal, promote research, development, marketing, and distribution of aquacultural products appropriate to the region. That's to identify markets for locally grown aquacultural products and agricultural services. We still have some land available, especially in Willacy County. It's mostly agricultural based, and we still have the island. So this is still a goal that they want me to keep in our economic development plan. Any changes, corrections, comments? No?
The water first.
We need the water. Yeah, we need to get a desalination plant in Port Isabel to ship the water out here. So I think Marcy covers water. We'll talk about that one.
Which says research green byproducts
I'm sorry?
on the strategy,
Uh-huh.
it says research green byproducts.
Green
I
byproducts.
think we should also just research green products and byproducts. I mean,
That's true.
there's both.
Mhm. Okay, we'll add that. Green products and byproducts.
Terry?
Yes, sir.
On that one, you might want to include also, maybe where it says alternate products,
Mm-hmm.
you might want to put something either there or the green byproducts, sustainable.
That's good too. Anybody else? Okay, great, thank you. Next goal, increase domestic and international tourism. Market the region for its recreational and tourism facilities. Comment there about the unstable economy, that was a couple of years back when it was worse, has redirected families to spending habits, and now makes good sense to keep travel local. So we're really pushing for that, especially again in our small rural cities, because they don't have a lot of other economic development out there, so tourism is really big. Any other comments? Changes, corrections? Stace? Create and expand industries and business development in the Lower Rio Grande Valley to create and develop a regional marketing strategy. Limitless opportunities for economic prosperity must be addressed as a regional marketing strategy. In order to attract businesses, economic data must be centralized. Again, going back to our GIS, data must be centralized and easily accessible to the valley so it can market us as one region. Any changes, corrections, additions, comments?
I think, as I see the valley, there's a lot of entities that are engaged in talking about regional marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they do some of that, but I think there's no coordination amongst all of them. So I think the coordination of the marketing of the region
Okay.
is important, because those are things that you could collaborate on, and then you can compete on other stuff in between cities or whatever. But I feel that coordinating the marketing of the region, everybody benefits when some
Right.
company locates here and a new company is created.
So add a new strategy, need for the coordination of regional marketing efforts.
Yes.
That sound good? Okay.
Adding to that, Terry, I think UTPH would be I guess.
Good leader?
Yes, well, I mean, if you look at ETPA and what they've done throughout the years with the College of the School of Business.
That's true.
I think that's something that, as a region, we need to take advantage of what UTPA has to offer.
That's true.
Go Bronx. Go Bronx.
Very good. Anything else? Going once, twice? Okay. Okay, develop a regional economic adjustment plan for creating disaster resilient communities. And that's to conduct a regional assessment of flood control, drainage systems, infrastructure for economic recovery. And this one was based on a grant that we received at the Development Council, the Economic Development District, my office, for putting together a strategic plan, a comprehensive plan on flood control and drainage. And this has led to a lot of other projects that have been done in different counties. It also helped with the funding of the bond that Hidalgo County passed for improving their infrastructure. So it does have an impact. We have the data there. It is in GIS format. And so that information can be used for a lot of different projects as well. That project also ended last year, but we still provide technical assistance or information or help out any way we can. Any comments, changes, additions? Again, that depends if we have water, right, Lydia?
Well, no, because aren't they, and they're almost done, aren't they? FEMA is almost updating, done with updating them.
Because the funding ended, and that's one of the reasons why we're providing GIS training to the small cities, is so that the small cities would at least know how to input whatever data, whatever projects were accomplished through other federal or state agencies. Like you received a couple of grants for infrastructure from the TCEQ and USDA. And you would give us that information so that we could put into the plan, and so that we could identify, let's say that you had a project that was needed, you got the funding, so it's been taken care of, so that project's off the list. Yeah, that's what the updating was about. Anybody else? Okay. Next goal, develop a business hurricane and information training program for disaster recovery. That's provide businesses with information and training resources to assist in their economic recovery after a natural disaster. This again was a grant that we received. The good thing about EDA being a federal agency is that it tries everything, at least once. So they gave us the money to do a comprehensive drainage plan. They also gave us some money to do a BHIT program. I call it BHIT, stands for Business Hurricane Information and Training. And we've done conferences, and we had really good success because we not only brought first responders, police and fire chief personnel together, but we brought economic development because businesses need to get up and running as soon as possible. So we provided COOP training. We also had the agencies that are nonprofit or faith-based that have money or resources or people, and we need to put them together with the police departments, fire departments, and police departments. So our program is a little bit different in that sense. It's not just hurricane emergency preparedness and that's it. We expanded to include businesses, other agencies, and even talked about green building. So we hope to put on another conference this year. Any changes, corrections, additions?
Jerry, I just want to make note that at the university we have two world-renowned experts in disaster management and resiliency. Dr. Avidan Rodriguez, who is our provost, my immediate supervisor.
What's his name?
Avidan Rodriguez.
Avidan Rodriguez?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
He was in Delaware and traveled all over the world, looking and working with disasters and disaster relief. And the
Wow.
other one is Walter Diaz,
Mhm.
who is the Dean for Social and Behavioral Sciences at UTPA. And they're working on a project, I can't remember the exact name right now, but creating a center that will deal with disaster. I want to say disaster resilience, but I'm not
Mhm.
sure of the name.
Oh, okay.
Coordinating with them and working with them would be a good.
Yeah, we would love that, especially because we have Homeland Security that deals specifically with the MAC Center and other training program, and of course our 911 personnel that handle emergencies and dispatch and stuff like that. So that would be a really good partnership. Thank you. Anybody else? Again, if you guys are doing something in your agencies or your cities that we need to identify or showcase, this is the time to do it. This is not, again, just about the Development Council. Anybody else? No? Okay. I have two areas to cover, and I got stuck with workforce and job training. Joe mentioned at the very beginning that a lot of everything we do at the Development Council and probably in your office, your agency, is tied to economic development. So workforce and job training, we don't have any specific department that deals with that, that is an expert. So like I said, I was doing a project with the partnership and Cameron County Workforce and Rio Grande Valley Workforce, Bonnie Gonzalez. And so this is all we got. So if any of you have additional comments or changes or new goals, I really welcome that. As you can see, it was very, very limited. We tried to workforce and training goals. We did accomplish the first annual State of the Workforce Conference, and that was with the Lower Rio Grande Valley Workforce Solutions, Cameron County Workforce Solutions, and the Rio Grande Valley Partnership. That took place at the island. It was a very good conference. It provided a status report on the workforce. A goal that was identified was to develop a regional coordinated system, a central depository of data and information for the region. Again, this was coming from the audience because they feel that when people go apply for jobs, they don't have a lot of access to information. There's still a lot of disconnect between employers and employees. Who needs the employees? What kind of information or training or is required? And then the people also were complaining that they don't know how to use a lot of the computer systems that are there at the workforce offices. So that's where this comment came from. Is there anybody that wants to make any changes, comments? No? This one also keeps popping up all the time. Explore benefits of regional MSA designation. Keith, I think you're the only one that would really know about MSAs. Is that something that is feasible? Should we leave it, take it out, or?
Yeah, we were just talking about that, Leon and Dale and myself. Yeah, I think it's something we need to look at.
Okay.
One of the things that we've been really working on, and I think it's something that we maybe need to look at, I'm just toying with whether regional MSA makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We have been looking at the possibility of going with a whole new designation called International Metropolitan Statistical Areas. And the reason for that is, as we all know, we're here on the border.
Right.
And in the case of Brownsville, Matamoros, Reynosa, McAllen, Wesco, we have cities across the border, and they're part of our community. I mean, we're moving back and forth across the borders every day, but the way statistics are collected and information is collected, the U.S. side doesn't recognize anything on the Mexico side. Mexico side doesn't recognize anything on the U.S. side. So in effect, we are trying to run a community. All the leadership is trying to run a community with only half of the numbers or half the statistics.
Right.
When you look, give you an example, it would be very similar to saying Austin that has a river running through it. If tomorrow morning, all of a sudden someone came in and said, from this time forward, city commission, mayor, you cannot consider anything on the south side of the river. It doesn't exist. How could you run that community? And I think from our standpoint, we see that as one of the biggest problems that we have because people don't understand the statistics. We have 2,000 managers that live in McAllen, work in Reynosa that aren't even in our labor force.
Wow.
Because they're not considered to be there.
Yeah.
And we have just counted 134,000 manufacturing jobs in the international metro, which puts us almost a third under New York City as far as actual number of manufacturing jobs in the United States.
Wow.
But we can't say that because we're two countries. So what we're looking at is maybe moving forward with first is the possibility of a combined MSA, merging the counties here on the U.S. side, but then creating a new designation, the International Metropolitan Statistical Areas for Border Communities, that would allow us to start collecting data for the whole region, for the whole community.
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. Now, would we lose the designations because we have two MSAs? They would be combined in just one international?
It would be a CMSA, what's considered to be a combined metropolitan statistical. It would be similar to Dallas-Fort Worth.
Okay.
Where they each maintain their own identity, but for purposes of statistics, they're combined into one. And what we're looking at is an ICMSA, which would be International Combined Metropolitan Statistical Area.
That's a great plan. Okay, well, we can help with that.
Somebody else has been thinking about that because the 911 has been trying to stress that to the census.
Oh.
State that we have at one point or another, these people that supposedly they don't exist as far as population is concerned. Yet, if you stand by the bridge, you see all those cars lined up, 30 minutes at a time, a long line. And those people are coming over, and once they come over, supposedly they're not here.
Yep. That's a good point. Okay. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. We hope to support that effort, Keith. Next goal is to mobilize education and training resources into a seamless system. Improve access to resources and opportunities for education entities. And strategies, most of it is encouraging coordination, access, identifying multilingual education programs, promoting lifelong continuum, encouraging implementation of the science, math, and literary principles, and improve access to grant writing training, identify and strengthen clearinghouse resources, increase number of professional degree programs available. I think we're doing some of that, but that was a goal that was identified last 2 years ago. So any changes, comments, additions, new goals? Yes, sir.
I think it's important that we have more opportunities, educational opportunities for the people and students here in the Rio Grande Valley. But I'm beginning to work with a person here in Mexico, where we're also providing financial literacy to those students. We're doing that in our university, we're starting that. But I think the other educational facilities or educational entities need to work. It'd be important to introduce financial literacy and not just, here's the technique and you're doing the skill you're learning, but also the finance that goes with that, financial literacy.
Would we say a new strategy to promote financial literacy in the education system?
Yes, yes.
Terry, I have one also, and I don't think it's listed on the next one either, but, and that deals with alternative funding, educational funding sources. Right now, we have kids that have to go into debt to get their education.
Right.
One of the things that we have done, tying it into the economic development with the incentive programs, is that we require every company that we give incentives to must provide tuition reimbursement and internships in order to qualify for incentives. What that does is there's two strategies that we're looking at. Number one is, as we start seeing more demand of people coming down here, the better we do with training, the more our graduates are in demand outside the area, and we have people coming down here, taking our people and moving them to Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, wherever.
Right.
And so we keep losing, having that brain drain. So what we were looking at is if we can reach into working with the higher educational institutions, STC, university, with dual enrollment programs where we can start reaching into juniors, seniors, putting them in internship programs in an employer. They're not yet on the market for someone else to come down and take the kids away.
Right.
And the kids start learning about the workplace, the company starts learning about the student, they like one another. When they graduate from high school, hopefully under dual credit programs, they have now some skill sets, and the employer goes to them and says, look, Terry, I'd like you to work with me for 2 years while you're in high school. I'd like you to stay with me. I will pay for your college if you stay with me. And so it's kind of a strategy to retain our talent.
Right.
It's also a way to help our kids that maybe don't think they can go to school because they can't afford it or their families can't afford it, to allow them to really go ahead and get their education and it's paid for by the employer.
Wow. Do you know of anybody, is McAllen already implementing that, or are there other school districts, do you know of?
We are implementing it with STC and UTPA. Most of it's STC because the technical, the technical programs, dual enrollment programs, that's what we're doing.
Okay. That's a good program for our other cities to consider. Great. Do you want to add that as a strategy, or?
The key is to require the tuition reimbursement and the internships with the incentive program.
Would you want to do that as a separate goal or just add it?
I don't know, where would we put that as a financial, look for financial, alternative financing options for education?
I would put it in business. No? Make it a new goal under business.
Okay.
Why don't we look at the existing business goals, and maybe if you can send me something later? And because that's a great program.
I want to speak to that as well. Having come out of the healthcare environment, working majority of the hospitals in the valley, we do work with a lot of the programs and try to get the kids into our systems so we can in turn feed them into the nursing program. And so we work with the OEN programs, feeding along to the RN program. It's a great program. What I would suggest is also to include, because healthcare is a big part of it, but as well to include the specialty schools in that strategy.
Specialty schools like IDEA, or what are you thinking of?
Medical
The medical professional schools, okay.
The interesting thing with that, Terry, I've never had a company object to it. Never.
That's great, that's great. And yeah, we have a lot of bills after you graduate from college, so definitely be great incentives. Okay. Great, thank you so much. My last, any other comments, changes? Go to the last one. Our last goal is to mobilize education and training resources, it's a continuation, resources to seamless system, supporting coordinated system between employers and educational providers to maximize, well, maybe this is where it should go, Keith. Supporting coordinated system between employers and educational providers to maximize learning skill training for the region's workforce. That's probably a better place for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll add that to the strategies. Okay. Any other comments, changes? This is my last goal. Last time. Nope? More comments? Great. Okay, well, thank you so much. This has been really, really helpful. We will include all of the comments and changes. Just to let you know, the implementation process, we're having these meetings today and tomorrow. After that, we have the final regional review meeting. What was the date, Marcy?
August.
And whatever changes will be all incorporated into the plan and then taken to that meeting. And that's the final time that we'll ask for public comments.
August the 6th.
August the 6th, and it'll be here at the same place. So, so if somebody changes your comments or your strategies or goals, you know, again, it's not us, it's whatever the audience, the public wants us to include in the strategic plan. And that usually doesn't happen. They might change it a little bit or add to it, but they've never deleted a whole section or a whole goal or anything like that. So. Any other questions or comments?
On that day, everyone can be, I mean, all the sessions will be.
At that meeting, we will have all of the directors doing what I'm doing right now, is providing their section with all of the comments and changes that Patty is recording. And it'll be an all-day event. And you can only come for the sections you're interested in, or you're welcome to stay the whole day. Anything else? I think we're breaking for lunch. And the next session, yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make just a general comment.
Sure.
I apologize, we got to this workshop a little late.
Can I have your name, please?
Yes, Graciela Salinas from Cameron County Planning Department.
Gracias, Salinas, okay.
And what I wanted to point out is perhaps maybe the need for some employers, including and especially our county or government employers, to offer employees basic training, sometimes orientation in new types of skills or training that is part of their job. And what I'm trying to say is, for instance, in our new technology needs,
right.
We have a lot of employees who do not have time, or perhaps maybe cannot afford either, to learn some of the basic Microsoft Word training.
Computer skills.
Yes, computer software programs, Excel, and they use them, but they don't know how. And I know for ourselves and myself, you know, I'll take it upon myself to just learn it and do it and that sort of thing.
Me too.
But not everybody is, you know,
Fortunate.
you or like you or whatever. So I think an employer offering that opportunity and making it optional for the employees, or actually doing a partnership with the university and having them come in and offer that training for them. You know, whether it's going to cost money or not, or however, but we then begin to educate more of our employees. I have seen in my experience very little training, in-house training for employees. And we need to continue to keep them educated because then it's very difficult
Right.
for them. Well, I don't know how to do this. No, I don't know. And I don't know, and I don't know, and that's all I hear, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, we need to go past the I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
And so those are some. The other is like basic orientation on, let's say, personnel people being trained. Sometimes they do send them up to Austin to train, let's say, under the Texas Association of Counties, some of the workshops that need to be, where they need to learn about human resources and the new laws and what have you.
Right.
And that's good. But there are some basic stuff that they don't know that I think would be good to train. Also, maintenance. Employees that work in maintenance, I've noticed also that I think as part of keeping our areas nice and clean and environmentally safe and attractive, not just for us that we work and live in these communities, but also for the tourists and people that see our communities so that they're a little bit more cleaner and well-maintained. A lot of our maintenance personnel do not know anything about landscaping, those that have those type of jobs. And landscaping is not just about cutting the grass. And I know in our area we have a lot of facilities where the landscaping is so bad. And it's sad because it kind of makes the building look, you know, less valuable, and it makes us all look like we just don't care.
Right.
And so I notice that the employees don't know. When they send them out to do a little bit of landscaping here and there, they'll just put whatever plants. And all of a sudden you see this huge palm tree growing next to a tiny little shrub or something that doesn't belong there. And it's because, you know, they're not trained. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I have seen the transformation of the University of Texas at Brownsville, but when it did the merger with TSC. And it was in kind of that stage at the beginning. The grounds were terrible, the buildings were neglected, everything was neglected. And over the years, they made a commitment. They had a landscaping plan for I guess it was for a 10-year plan or whatever. And little by little, they began to use the native plants and to landscape the entire campus. It's a beautiful campus. And they keep it up. And I was very impressed with that. And I said, well, why can we not do that? They're using native plants, which take very little water because they're made for this type of climate. And why can we not continue to do that in our facilities, especially our government facilities where we can afford to do that?
Right.
And so then I realized that the personnel was not trained. And since the subject here is workforce and training and education, that it's not just about getting degrees, which is great.
Right.
And it's not just about going to a workshop, but actually hands-on type of training for our employees. We have employees that have been employed for 20, 30 years, some of them, and they still don't know. I'm like, what happened here?
Yeah. So we're going back to the need of basic training?
I would think so for some, that we need to do that. They need to be, or also a receptionist knowing how to answer the phone. You'd be surprised.
We did get the comment earlier about customer service.
Customer service is very important.
Yeah.
And knowing exactly, you know, how to answer and being a little bit more knowledgeable or resourceful about what is, you know, if it's Cameron County, okay, who in Cameron County? What is the county about? What does it do? All these basic things. And the type of training I'm talking about is also introduction training when a new employee is hired.
The
So
orientation.
they understand the structure in the government and all that, especially if they're very, very new. And this is just basic in-house training, but I like to stress that that's very important because it involves all of us people that live in our communities, and the more resourceful and educated we are, the better off we are because you can go anywhere with this kind of training.
That's
and you
true.
can live top. But if you stay there and not know anything, and then your employer or your director or your supervisor does not allow you to learn, that is terrible. We need to do something about it so that all employers are willing to train and pass that information and sharing and learning. That's what I'd like to see, because it's been my experience, well, okay, now I have to train myself and educate myself to the people that I have to work with, because I realized that they're lacking those skills.
Right. Okay, well, we will go ahead and make some of these comments, write down some of these comments, and we'll send them to you. You can give us your info. And so to make sure that it makes sense, and we're addressing the issues that you talked about. Anybody else have anything else? No? Okay, again, thank you so much for coming, and we appreciate it.